Good morning, Year 9. This is Mr. Souza. I hope you're all well and having a lovely day. Please could you write the date and the title of character, show, don't tell. After you've done that, I'd like you to complete the do now. Read this description of a person. David stomped to his desk, spilling coffee as he went. Pushing past a group of people, he threw himself into his chair. With one sweep of his hand, he cleared his desk and growled at the nearest secretary. How is David feeling, and how do you know? So could you please pause the video for 5 minutes to complete the do now? So today I'll be discussing the show not tell technique. This is where the writer shows you what a character is feeling, rather than telling you. Using show not tell makes writing more interesting and engaging to the reader. In order to show not tell, you can describe the following. You can describe their face. Will they be crying, gritting their teeth, blushing, having wobbly lips? You can describe their voice. Will it lose volume? Will they be whispering, shouting, mumbling? You can describe their body language. How will they move? Will they be crouched or slouching, or maybe standing up tall and straight? Describe their actions or movement. Will they mop their tears with a hanky, push all their books off their desk? So I'd like you to take about 5 minutes to copy down what's on this slide. So now we're going to look at a paragraph where a character called David is feeling angry or moody. David stomped to his desk, spilling coffee as he went. The verb stomped is quite aggressive. It's not something you would really do if you're feeling happy. Pushing roughly past a group of people. Pushing again is a verb which is quite aggressive, and the adverb roughly consolidates that. He threw himself into a chair, so the verb threw again is quite fast-paced, quite aggressive. With one sweep of his hand, he cleared his desk and growled at the nearest secretary. So the verb growled, again, connotations of aggression. It's quite a beast-like verb, and it presents him as angry, potentially cruel, ill-tempered, and the whole description gives us a very clear idea of how he's feeling at that point in time. So now for your first task. David is now extremely happy. Write a paragraph showing this without stating it. Try to describe his facial expression. How will his face look if he's very happy? His voice. How do you sound if you're very happy? His body language. What will he do? And his actions and movements. How will he move? And if you want to challenge yourself, and you finish this before the end of your allocated time, try this task showing someone who is excited. May not be David. So you've got 10 minutes. Could you please pause the video for 10 minutes now? Okay, so this is an example answer that I've written. David's face lit up with his signature smile, a bright, radiant thing that shone like a beacon. It was infectious, causing others to smile along with him. His voice was loud and confident. It had the tone one possesses when everything in the world is going right. He strode confidently across the office with a spring in his step and gave his boss a big thumbs up. This was clearly his lucky day. So could you now take about 5 minutes to copy down this paragraph? Okay, now for your second task, I would like you to look at these different examples of show not tell and add a sentence to each and identify how that person is feeling. Katie's eyes filled with tears. Lara slammed the door shut. Amy was grinning from ear to ear. Matthew dropped his eyes to the ground. Alex's eyes were as wide as dinner plates. So for each of them, you're adding a sentence that continues with the emotion that's been identified, that's been shown in that first sentence, And then after that second sentence, which continues the emotion, you're identifying that emotion. So Katie's eyes filled with tears. What kind of emotion would cause your eyes to fill with tears? Write another sentence continuing that emotion using show not tell, and then identify it. So you've got 10 minutes. Please pause the video now. So your answers. Of course, for your additional sentence, you may not have written exactly what I've written. It's quite unlikely, but if as long as you've written something in a similar vein, that's fine. Katie's eyes filled with tears. Her bottom lip was trembling. This indicates sadness, embarrassment, or shame. Lara slammed the door shut. Her eyes were on fire. So this would indicate anger, resentment, or annoyance. Amy was grinning from ear to ear. She bounced up and down excitedly, unable to keep still. Indicates happiness, excitement, or maybe even restlessness. Matthew dropped his eyes to the ground. His limbs were frozen in place, indicating fear or anxiety. Alex's eyes were as wide as dinner plates. His mouth had dropped open, indicating surprise, dismay, or horror. Okay, so for your third task, we're going to bring back the character you were writing about last lesson. So I asked you to choose either the little girl on the left or the studious boy on the right. So I want you to imagine that you are writing a story about one of those two characters, and you want to describe how they're feeling at the start of your story. Write 1 to 2 paragraphs showing, not telling, the emotions they are feeling. And if you want to challenge yourself, which I recommend you do, try and show your chosen emotions through a mix of verbs, adverbs, adjectives, and nouns. So you've got 10 minutes. Please pause the video now. Okay, so this is an example answer that I wrote. I chose the little girl. I think she looks like quite an inspiring character. So this is my answer. It's not as long as what you would have written. Hopefully your answers are a bit longer, but it contains the key elements. Lucia walked with her head held high and a fire blazing in her eyes. So we've got the verb blazing, connotations of determination and passion, and the noun fire, again, connotations of light, warmth, passion, potentially destruction as well. It's an interesting word. She strode briskly. So the verb strode is quite forceful, quite determined. The adverb, because it's describing a verb, briskly, indicates she wants to move forward, quite fast-paced, and with a confidence rarely seen in one so young. So the noun confidence tells us that she believes in herself. Her hands were balled into tight fists. So the verb balled could indicate a hidden fear, could indicate anger or resentment, into tight fists. So the adjective's tight, this is showing a different side to her. Maybe there's something restraining her. And the noun fists again could indicate anger. So going back to the fire blazing that swung at her side in time with her rhythmic marching. So marching, the verb marching has connotations of soldiers, maybe going to war. So perhaps tells us a bit about her situation. Why is she marching? Also, it's not a verb commonly associated with children who are more carefree, possibly indicating she's linking back to this idea that she's older than her years. And rhythmic again, not something that a child would necessarily do, consolidating this idea that she's older or has been forced to grow up quicker than most children. Her sparkling eyes were dancing, and her strong chin just dared one of the other refugees, or anyone for that matter, to tell her no. So we've got sparkling and strong, and I chose those two adjectives because they both reveal quite a lot about her character. They've got sparkling eyes, could indicate great enthusiasm, could be an allusion to her youth, indicates an excitement, a youthful excitement. But then You've also got the strong chin, so she is a strong and forceful character as well as being quite young. So you could also actually talk about the word dared, because again it's quite a powerful word, and shows she's quite courageous as a character. So that's my answer. I would like you to take a few minutes to reflect on your own answer and consider if there's anything you could do to improve it. So pause the recording for just a few minutes to check over your own answer, and having heard mine, think about any ways you could improve it. Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's lesson. Thank you very much for your hard work, and thank you so much to those of you who've been sending me your work. I really appreciate it. I love seeing you get involved with the tasks and put your own spin on things. So thank you so much for that, and I'll see you next time.